The suspense in Deep Rising begins with the eerie arrival of the mercenaries and Finnegan's crew on the massive cruise ship, Argonautica. Everything is too quiet. There are no lights, no music, and not a single person in sight. The halls are in disarray, tables overturned, broken chandeliers dangling, and pools of blood painting the floors. It's immediately clear that something horrific has happened, but there's no sign of bodies, which makes it all the more unsettling. The silence is loud, and every echo down the metal corridors feeds into a growing sense of dread. As they move deeper into the ship, the group follows blood trails and finds evidence of chaos. Half-eaten meals, slashed walls, smashed doors, but still no people. The disappearance of hundreds of passengers without explanation ramps up the tension. Then, a sudden attack. One of the mercenaries is abruptly yanked through a vent by an unseen force. It happens quickly, brutally, and with no chance for rescue. The horror becomes real. They're not alone on this ship, and whatever is with them is fast, intelligent, and ruthless. Paranoia spreads among the crew. The claustrophobic interiors and constant uncertainty of when and where the creature will strike next push the survivors to their breaking point. Trapped in a maze of corridors, with communication down and the exit cut off, the group begins to fracture. The creature, hiding in pipes and moving through vents, attacks from unexpected angles, and no one feels safe. The audience watches as characters who once seemed invincible become fragile in the face of something they can't see or understand. The tension escalates when Finnegan and Trillian discover the creature's feeding ground. Hidden within the ship's cargo hold, they find a grotesque lair filled with half-digested remains and skeletal remnants of the passengers. The monster is not just killing, it's eating, and it doesn't kill quickly. Victims are swallowed alive and digested slowly, their screams echoing through the ventilation system. The full horror of what they're facing becomes undeniable when the central core of the beast is revealed, a massive, gaping mouth surrounded by thrashing tentacles, pulsating with hunger and menace. All of this chaos and horror is interwoven with dark comedy, most of which comes from Joey Pantucci. He constantly delivers sarcastic remarks and panicked one-liners that feel both absurd and completely honest. In one scene, as the group prepares to open a suspicious door, Joey blurts out, "Why is it always me that opens the creepy doors?" His nervous energy and frantic commentary give the audience moments to breathe and laugh amid the tension. His over-the-top fear and habit of hiding or running at the first sign of danger make him both relatable and hilarious. Finnegan, in contrast, adds to the humor with his dry, deadpan delivery. He reacts to life-threatening situations with a shrug and a calm, sarcastic tone. When Joey panics about their chances of survival, Finnegan casually responds, "Yeah, probably," with the weariness of a man who's seen too much. Their contrasting personalities create a comedic rhythm throughout the film, grounding the chaos with character-driven humor. It's this blend of horror and levity that gives the film its unique tone. The mercenaries themselves contribute to the comedy, not because they're trying to be funny, but because of their arrogance and dysfunction. They swagger onto the ship with guns and confidence, but once the creature starts attacking, they lose all composure. Their macho bravado quickly turns into screaming and infighting, and some of their last words are unintentionally comedic. Even their attempts to regroup or plan an escape are filled with bickering and bad decisions, which often lead to their own demise. One of the funniest yet tensest moments comes when Joey, presumed dead, reappears out of nowhere, soaked and trembling, muttering to himself about what he just went through. His re-entry into the story is so frantic and confused that it shifts from comic relief to genuine sympathy. He's exhausted, traumatized, and still throwing out nervous jokes, which makes him oddly endearing. His survival seems more like dumb luck than skill, but that's part of what makes him such a memorable character. The final comedic sting comes after all the explosions, narrow escapes, and apparent survival. Finnegan, Trillian, and a disoriented Joey wash up on a seemingly deserted island. Just when they think the nightmare is over, a massive roar shakes the jungle behind them, and trees start falling. The camera lingers on their expressions, wide-eyed, speechless, and absolutely done with surprises. It's a perfectly timed moment that sums up the film's entire vibe: terror, chaos, and a dash of absurdity, all rolled into one. In the middle of the vast, storm-tossed South China Sea, a high-tech cruise ship known as the Argonautica glides across the water. Designed to be a floating palace, it offers luxury, opulence, and adventure for its wealthy guests. But as the ship prepares for a grand unveiling, something ancient and hungry is waiting beneath the waves, something that doesn't belong in the known food chain. Elsewhere, a group of heavily armed mercenaries charter a small transport vessel captained by John Finnegan, a rugged, no-nonsense man with one rule: cash up front, no questions asked. Along with his wisecracking mechanic Joey Pantucci and their crew, Finnegan has no idea that their new clients are planning to hijack and loot the Argonautica. The plan is simple: board the ship, strip it of its valuables, and disappear before anyone notices. But what they find when they arrive is something none of them could have prepared for. When the transport reaches the Argonautica, they find it eerily silent. No lights, no music, no people. The massive cruise liner drifts in open water like a ghost ship. As the mercenaries board it, they discover signs of destruction: splintered furniture, pools of blood, and shredded metal. Something tore through this place, but there's no sign of what. Among the wreckage, they discover a lone survivor, Trillian St. James, a savvy and defiant thief who had been locked in the brig for attempting to rob the ship's vault. She has no idea what attacked the ship, but she knows it wasn't human. The group begins to unravel the horrifying truth. Something has come aboard. A creature that hides in the shadows, slithering through the ship's piping systems and narrow corridors. Tentacles, massive and intelligent, snake through the halls and vents, pulling people into the dark and dissolving them alive. One by one, the mercenaries are picked off in gruesome fashion. Gunfire, explosives, and brute strength do nothing against the sheer force and adaptability of the monster. As the body count rises, internal tensions explode. The mercenaries' leader, Hanover, becomes increasingly unstable, torn between completing his mission and surviving the nightmare they've stepped into. Meanwhile, Simon Canton, the ship's corrupt developer, emerges as the mastermind behind the entire scheme. He had planned to sink the Argonautica for insurance money, never expecting that a real monster would intervene and wipe out his guests first. With the creature tightening its grip on the ship, Finnegan, Trillian, and Joey realize their only chance of survival is to destroy the Argonautica and escape on the transport vessel. But time is running out. The ship is sinking, the monster is multiplying, and betrayal comes from every corner. Hanover turns on his own men. Canton reveals he's sabotaged the escape, and the creature itself begins to show terrifying intelligence, adapting its attacks and using the ship's systems against the survivors. In a desperate bid to escape, Finnegan and Joey rig the Argonautica's engine room with explosives. The plan: blow the ship sky high and use the chaos to get away. But things don't go smoothly. Joey is separated, chased through the flooded lower decks by the monster, and seemingly consumed. Finnegan and Trillian, pursued by the creature's central mass, a pulsating, gaping maelstrom of teeth and tentacles, race through collapsing corridors, narrowly escaping death at every turn. The final act is a frenzy of action and terror. The explosives detonate, ripping through the ship in a thunderous eruption. Fire engulfs the Argonautica, and the beast is caught in the inferno. Finnegan and Trillian escape aboard a modified jet ski, riding the ocean waves as the cruise liner sinks into darkness behind them. Just when they believe they're safe, they wash ashore on what seems to be a deserted island. The closing moments offer no peace. A thunderous roar echoes from the jungle as trees crash in the distance. Something else is out there, something even bigger. The nightmare isn't over. It's only just begun. Packed with high-stakes action, claustrophobic suspense, and a relentless monster lurking in every shadow, Deep Rising delivers a wild ride from start to finish. It's a story of survival, greed, and unexpected heroism, where even the most well-laid plans are no match for the unknown terrors of the deep.